we'll go on from the story. So first of all, it was the identification of the story. Then there was the how you unlock the story to find out its validity or not, whether it's true or not, and to go back and question when it happened, what was really happening at the time, not what you thought was happening at the time, but what was happening outside of that. And sometimes you need to ask parents about that. I can't ask my parents now because they're both not here, but I found out by going back into the subconscious and back into the space, and I was back in the room, and I would watch my mum, and then I realized, and then I saw what was really happening as an adult consciousness looking at a child, and I saw it. I go, oh, I had it. No wonder I reacted. I saw it. So, as I say, parents don't actually have to be here to go and ask them, but if they are, it's a lot easier because you can just go and ask them, what happened with that time, yeah. I had another story. If they come up, I'm gonna mention them. So, I had a story around when I was young, and I had a tree hut my tree hut that I built, and it was across the road from where I lived right on the riverbank, and there was a big willow tree, and I built this big tree hut up there, and it was my pride and joy. I spent hours and hours and hours making this tree hut, and had a rope ladder up to it. It was very, very cool. And it was like my sanctity. I used to go and sit up there and I had pictures on the wall, and it was my place. Nobody was allowed up there. And it was like my haven in the world. It was my safe haven in the world. And I used to go and just hang out in my tree hut. And somehow or other, it was like me safe in the world somehow. Why I needed to be safe, don't know, but somehow that was my haven. I have other theories, but that's a different story. I'll talk about that later. And one day, somebody, and I don't know what happened, but somehow I annoyed somebody at school, or I annoyed somebody. And he was a friend at the time, and he came around my place. He was bigger than I was, so I couldn't fight him or anything. And he got up in my tree hut and he broke it. He broke it all to pieces. He kicked it and broke it and ripped it all apart and completely destroyed it. And I was just devastated. It's one of those events in my life that I've done so much work around, the pain, and I sat across the road in the house listening to him break my tree, and I just cried and I cried and I cried because he was destroying my safe haven. And it was one of the most traumatic things that happened to me as a kid. And I can just remember this, just crying and crying and crying. And then when my parents came home, I think my mum might have been there, I'm not sure. But when my father came home, I told them who the child was who did that, and how, and I was devastated. And my parents didn't go and speak to his parents. And that, to me, was the betrayal story. This is the, where were you when I needed you? I'm only bloody 8 years old, or 10 years, how old would I have been? 10 years old. Yeah, it might have been 10, might have been 11. Here I am, my parents are meant to be looking after me. I've just had one of the most traumatic experiences of my life from somebody who did that, and you're not even going to go and talk to the parents and tell them what their son did to my tree hut that I spent years building. You're not going to go and confront them for that? And they wouldn't. And I'm sitting there going, well, but you're meant to be my defenders. You're meant to be the ones that stand there strong and defend me and look after me, and I want you to do this, and you're not. And I had a huge traumatic event of betrayal and losing trust in my mum and my father because of that. So, but if now when we're talking about the stories, now go behind the story, the question was, why didn't they go and confront them? Why didn't they go and confront the person, the father and the mother of this child? And then I understood what had happened, and then I saw my father's character, I saw the character of the other boy's father, and I saw my mother, and I saw the mother, because I actually used to go to his place and play with him, believe it or not, in his hut. I can't remember what started that. And then I realised there's no way in the world my father would want to confront this guy. He'd be too scared of him, because the guy was a farmer, he was tough. And my father wasn't a tough guy. My father was a beautiful, beautiful soul. He was a gentle man. He wasn't a fighter. He wasn't somebody who was going to do that. But I didn't know that. I thought he was meant to. I thought he's my warrior. You're going to go and stand up and fight for your son. Go to that, tell him he was right. Tell the kid off. Get the kid, come around and do it. But nothing happened. But I realised my father couldn't. And my mother wouldn't do it either. She would avoid the confrontation. And it wasn't anything to do with me. It wasn't to do with they betrayed me. It wasn't either. It's just that they couldn't because of their own fear of confrontation, my own fear of my father confronting somebody bigger than himself. And that just triggered the whole story. And I realised that wasn't because of me. It had nothing to do with me. It's because they couldn't. And it wasn't anything to do with me. And part of my story is let that go. And go back to what the representation of my haven meant to me, why I needed that, and why it hurt so much when it went. And to break the story of my attachment to that, why I needed that, some place where you feel safe. Now I'm in the world, I feel safe inside the body, and I can be anywhere in the world and I still feel safe. And if I'm not safe, I make myself feel safe, because now I know safety doesn't belong in a box. It doesn't live in a box. Safety's me. And I have the safety now of I create my own safety. I don't put myself at risk. I'm not going to walk down Morocco Street with my bag hanging out. I'm not going to put myself at risk like that because I'm more wise than that. But I'm going to be in control of my safety, so I always feel in safety myself. And so this is where the safety lies, not inside the house. It's not locking the door inside the house. It's who I feel in myself. And so it took me a while to get past that story. That was a big one. And even when I talk about it now, I can still feel the emotion of that boy sitting there crying. I can still feel how much pain he was going through. But I also understand why he was going through it. And I've talked to him about it, and we've come to an arrangement to understand it. But it doesn't mean the pain doesn't exist, because it's still real. Because in that time I had that experience is still real. It should I just see the experience differently. But I don't want to get rid of the experience, because that's something really important, because I had one of my biggest growths through that. But can't get rid of the experience, acknowledge what it is. If I go back there, I can feel it, but then I also can step back out of it and go, but I know what really happened. Anyway, so then I just want to share, that's 2 stories today. 2 stories I've just shared with you. So interesting that they come up. If they come up, I'm obviously meant to share them, and hopefully they can help other people to grab hold of your story, find out the origin of the story, and break the connection that it has with you. Break the connection of what you think it is to what actually is really happening. And as I say, my father, beautiful man. He was a beautiful... When he passed away, he had so many people went to his funeral, because he was just a really likable guy. He just wasn't a tough guy. He just wasn't one of those people. He was just a really, really human, happy person who just made lots of friends. That was his character. But he wasn't a person. He wasn't a person with confrontation. He didn't like that. Yep. His son, however, this son's a little bit different to that. And I don't know whether that's because of that or it's because of my character, but I definitely will go to school and talk to somebody if they're doing something to my son. Maybe because of that reason, I don't know, but it's just who I am. So anyway, yeah, another story. Any more questions? Oh, I'll give you time to think about that, and that might have generated a question or two. So also anybody that comes onto this and watches this afterwards, if you have any stories or anything come up and you will get to watch this later because it's the wrong time zone for you, just message me. You can either message me in the YouTube chat, because I'll get the message for you. If it's something I can answer online, I'll answer it. But if it's personal, we can always talk about it. I want to help people get out of these things, so if you want to chat, you're very welcome. As long as it's not 1,000 people ask me, but if you have a question and you feel urgent enough to ask me, I'll do my best to answer it anyway. I'll always get back to you anyway, so just a thought anyway. Cheers. It's interesting talking about these, all the emotions come up from them. I got the emotion of my falling over my mum, who I love dearly, giving me a hard, like beating me up, verbally abusing me, and then I just had the other one about what the betrayal feel. I've just had those feelings were flashing through my body. Remember, emotions in Chinese medicine are normal things. The emotions are just energy. It's just an energy. I feel the energy of that, and it just dissipates. It just goes away. It's only damaging if you get the energy, you can't get rid of it. If you get anger inside your body and you can't get rid of the anger just gets more and more and more. That's why the rage and things, it gets rid of it. It's like a venting the energy. Just got to vent it, not at people. You got to vent it somewhere else. Go into a swimming pool, get in the water and start yelling underwater. Because if you do it up above, everybody wonders what you're strangling the cat or something. There's ways of releasing the energy. Yeah, and the same with the fear and everything else. You can do that. It's just ways of getting rid of it, which is healthy for the body because you don't want that energy in your body. It comes and goes, which is normal. That's healthy. It's when it comes and doesn't go. The problem is you get stored inside you, and that causes dysfunction, energetic dysfunction, disturbances. Oh, we have another question. Robin, I've spurred another question. Go.
It's not really a question in a sense, but I'd like you to talk more into what you were talking about with that we're with our partners so that they're the opposite to us, or they I guess it's about them challenging us so that we can learn learn sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they're the best teachers you get. And I still haven't quite worked out why we're attracted to the person that causes us the most pain. I'm not quite sure why we do that. Because the weird thing is in happen, there's a big story, there's a big subject, this one. It's a weird thing is that you can be with a partner, a long-term partner, and they'll keep just triggering the story and making you feel something. They can't make you feel anything, but you react to that. When you keep reacting, it gets to the stage where you just can't do it anymore and you break up with them. And then the weird thing is you go and get another person with the same story and they'll do the same thing again. It's almost like, no, you can't quite get away with it that easy. You can't just walk away and not have it. I'm going to give you another one. Here's another one, same story. And they go, oh, damn, I'm back in the same place again. I'm back still feeling the same thing and they're saying the same thing because some weird thing is we're attracted to it. Because part of it is that story is the thing that's stopping you being free. It's the thing that's stopping you waking up. It's the thing that's stopping you being enlightened. It's that story. And so when you let the story go, there's space. When the story's not there, there's some space. It's actually space for your heart. So your heart opens so you can see clearer. And so for somehow, if you thought that there's interference from outside, it's almost like it wants you to break free of the story. It wants you to be free. It wants you to wake up. It wants you to see the reality of life. It wants you to see who you really are. And it keeps bringing things into your road that are stopping you. And this will happen not only with your partner, but anything else. It'll happen with your boss. Your boss will bring them up. Your friends will bring them up. They're all designed, and all they are is triggering the stories you have. Because as soon as you have a reaction to something, you've got a story around it. Because if you have understanding of it, you won't react to it. You just go, oh yeah, that's because I think you should be doing that, but the truth is you can do whatever you like. But if you don't think they can do it, you shouldn't be doing that, then there's this reaction because I have an idea. So the partners, they just carry the big ones. They carry the unloved, unliked, unheard, unseen, not respected. They carry all the big ones. For some reason why we draw them. And it could be because they're similar to your parents, because your parents, remember, will be carrying the mirror. Remember, they're the ones that amplified your story from birth. You got your karmic story. They come along and amplify it to make it really strong, so you really have that belief. And then you get a partner to amplify it again in case you didn't quite get it from your parents. Now you got to get it from your partner. And they're going to amplify. This still the same story until you let it go, and then your parents and your partner are no use to you anymore because that story doesn't exist. And I believe for some strange reason that this is how we get through this and how we wake up is to get rid of these views. And so we just keep coming to us. And even if you choose not to have a partner, I have the same, they always tell me what to do and I just don't want to be with anybody who does it. So you don't have a partner at all. Then your boss starts telling you what to do. And it just triggers the same response. And then you go, okay, well, I'm going to be self-employed. I'm not going to have a partner, I'll be self-employed. And then your kids start telling you what to do. There's no escape because your conscious and your subconscious wants you to be free from the story. It wants you to evolve. It doesn't want you to be stuck there because otherwise you go out with the same story. The theory is you come back with the same story and start again. What would you want to do that for? You're just going to start. You might as well just do it now. And this, I always say to people with partners, this is your opportunity to break the story because if you leave, you're going to get it again. You've already spent 10 years with this relationship to get to this place so you can break the story. If you just leave now, you're going to start again from another person. It's going to be another 10 years before you get back to the same place you are now. And this is the place where you get to break it. This is the place. So you might as well do it now. Save yourself 10 years. Save yourself another 10 years. You're already there. It's really fresh. To get right into that place where the pain is, that's rich. It takes time to get there sometimes because we avoid it. But so they're the gift, and if you're aware that you're only reacting to your story that they are carrying, they're triggering you. They're not doing. That people say, "Oh, you make me angry." Nobody can make you angry. You react angrily towards them. They're not making you anything. It's your reaction to that. So if you're triggering, then you're triggering your reaction. Where's the reaction coming from? Why do I think you should not be doing that? Why do I think you should be doing something different so I don't get to feel this feeling? Or you just get to feel the feeling, okay, where's this feeling coming from? They're triggering something inside me. What's this? What's the story behind this that's creating the problem? It's not them. They're the gift. They're giving it to you, and your partners are the gift. Sometimes we don't see them as the gift, because when you're in that emotional place, they're the last thing as they are a gift. They're the enemy, because they're making you feel the feeling you don't like. But they are the gift. If you could see that, if you can get back out of the head and into your heart and realize what's going on. But this is the process. I don't know who made this up. Who made this game of life up? Whoever it was who programmed us, programmed my computer, programmed everybody's computer to have this experience and make it so bloody difficult that you keep running into all these things in life that are just difficult. If you could just let them all go, it'd be great, but it's not quite easy as that. And so we have all this programming and stuff, and it's like our experience in life is all filtered through these experiences and through the stories. And the more you let go, of course, the freer you feel. The more you let go, the freer you feel. And then you stop reacting to things. And you look at life through different eyes, because life is different, because you're not reacting to everything. You don't think everybody should behave a certain way. You don't care what governments are doing, because that's just people with power playing with power, because that's what they do. And they've been doing that forever. You lose attachment to that because you have understanding and not reaction. You have understanding of why is what it is. And it's the Buddhist thing about understanding. There's a couple of really beautiful sayings where the Buddha's used about this non-action, the understanding that it is what it is, and that you can't change it. It's the acceptance of self, but it's acceptance of what is. That's the one. The acceptance of what is. That this is what is happening. That's what's going on, and that's actually true, and not having a reaction to it. I'm not sure how long it takes you to get to the end of that. I don't know. I'm a bit older now, and I'm still reacting to my wife. And I said to her the other day, I said, "Oh, you just keep doing it." I spend most of my time trying to get to stop her doing it. Don't do that. If you didn't do that, then we wouldn't have any arguments. It's quite trying to stop her doing her story so that I don't have to reaction. And now it's, no, you just keep doing it, and I'll deal with my reaction. I'll go to the place where it's coming from so I can break it. So you can do what you like. What you do with your side, up to you. But I want to break my side, so don't stop doing it, because I spent a long time thinking if I changed her, I wouldn't be feeling this. Well, it's actually true. I wouldn't feel it, but then I'd still have the story running in the background. It wouldn't go away. It'd still be there. It's just that she's not triggering it. So, but you're better off to get it so it's not even in the background anymore. It's gone. So that's what your partner's for. So as much as that's tough sometimes, because the partners will trigger all of them. They'll not only trigger one or two stories, they'll trigger lots, all the big ones, especially the ones about love and care and understanding and being liked and appreciated and valued, and all of those ones, they'll trigger them for you. They will. Abandonment, not listening to you. It just goes on and on. Anyway, Robin, is that helpful? Probably more confusing.
No, it's really good. It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah, and so after you think about it, so this is the thing, the thinking, remember the thoughts of where all these stories live, in your program, in your mind, all the programming, that's where the stories all live. In your heart, there's nothing. Your heart just is here for experience, for the experience of life. Your heart lives through the senses. It lives through the senses that your mind can't control. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again for the new people. Your mind, your heart lives through your mind, through the senses, and your senses, your sense of flavour, touch, feel, all of these senses, your mind can't control. Your mind can't even explain them. Your mind can't explain what the colour yellow looks like. Your mind can't explain what a banana tastes like. Your mind can't explain that. Our experience through our heart, you can't explain what anger feels like. You can't put that into word what it feels like. It's impossible. There's no words for it. It's an experience. So all our experiences we have through our senses, you can't explain what hot feels like or what cold feels like. So our heart has that experience through the senses of this world, and then the mind has all these stories of all these things about how you should and shouldn't be and where everyone else should be. But when you're in your heart, it's just having an experience. It doesn't have any judgment on any of this. It doesn't care. It's just having an experience of life, and it understands why people do what they do. It doesn't matter. But as soon as you hear it, it has all the stories. Our mind's created its own world that it can have. It has politics and people and judgment and things up here, so we can live in this place in our mind, and the world's become mind people instead of heart people. Because if you live in your heart, you have an experience of your senses. Inside your senses, it's a caring place. You care for people. You see pain and suffering. You understand it. You want to help. Yep. But in your mind, a whole other story going on. And how you be able to walk between the two of them, because your mind's important. Because the mind helps you to plan things. It helps you to remember things. It's good for the past to remember. It's good for planning for the future. But in the present moment, there's nothing for it to do. You live in your heart, in the senses. Totally different place. And that's why people meditate to get into this place. So the Qigong is to get you in this place. There's lots of different modalities to get you into this place. Musicians get into this place in their heart when they're playing. Painters get into this place when you just get out of your mind and you're inside what you're doing. And there's nothing else exists. Everything disappears. Anything where you do that, where you're focusing on something outside of that. As soon as you're back into that again, worried about what they think of you. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah. But then you've got to use your mind. As I say, mind's important. Use your mind, work out what you're going to do for the day, and then switch it off, come back in present moment, back into the sensory experience of life. This is life. This is fantastic. Nothing really matters here. But if you're in your mind, everything matters. But you do need to plan things, because otherwise you forget your appointments. You forget to turn up. You do that. It's not good. So sometimes you have to use your mind to do it, but it's the ability to switch. That's what the Qigong does too for Muhammad. What the Qigong also does is allow you to learn, be able to turn your mind off and on. So you turn it on when you want it, and you turn it off when you don't want to go back in your heart. And if I speak from my heart, not my head, it's a different place. If I'm speaking from here, I heard Muhammad, I heard your voice, I heard your soul talking to me. But if I go into my head, I'm listening to the words you're saying. But when I listen to my heart, I heard you as a person. I heard what you said. And I'm listening to that. I'm not listening to your words. My head listens to the words. And that's the difference. And that's just a practice. There's nothing special about me. It's just practice to know how to do that. And the more we lived in our heart, the world would be a very different place, yeah? Very different. Mohammed, you come back. Good. Ask away.
If there's any other question before me, I'll wait. No worries.
No, go. You got your hand up. You're the only one with the hand up, so it's you.
Okay. So my question actually was always curious to know whether it is possible to reach a state in which there is any more story, any more wrong belief, any judgment. So we are up completely clean from any story, from any wrong belief, from any judgments. And what is that state?
You're going to laugh. The first thing that came to my mind was death. When you're not here. That's the first thing that came to my mind. So, it's interesting. So I'm not sure we have enough hours of the day or years in your life to get through them all. I don't know. Because remember, you're carrying the lineage of your parents and your grandparents and your grandparents' parents and your the stories of all of it, all of the generations, you're carrying them all. And so I don't know if you have enough time to get through them all, but we're certainly going to get time to get through some of them. So I'm not sure whether you can, but I mean, if you want to know whether you get through, you'd have to ask somebody like Buddha. You'd have to ask somebody like Jesus Christ, or people that have walked on this planet that are pretty clean, that don't have any stories. Yeah. But even Jesus Christ, I use that terminology because it's not for any other reason to understand the principle. But even Jesus Christ got angry. He went into the temple when they were using the temple and they were selling things and they were bartering and selling, and he got angry and chucked them all out of the temple. So even he had a story around, this is a sacred place, you don't do that here. And he chucked them out of the temple. And it's a beautiful example that as pure as he was, And there's documentation that he walked the planet. Beside the Bible, there's other information that he was here. And he was a very incredible soul, a very pure soul. He was a deity. But even he lost the plot, chucked everybody out of the temple. So it just shows you that we're human. We have this human existence. So I'm not sure if you can ever get through them all. I think part of it is the purification of that. And part of it is when you get through the stories and you're in your heart, all those stories don't exist, that you're outside of the realm of those stories. And you sit inside this experience of life, very different. Life, you're looking out at life really differently. It's like being in nature. You're sitting there connected to the trees and the bush and nothing else. You're just part of that. But as soon as you get involved with people, the stories just start coming back. It's bizarre. It's just like, whoa, okay, they're there. So can we get through them? Oh, I suppose you could. And there will be people that have got, I mean, I've met some very enlightened souls in my life. I've had the privilege of meeting them. They're really clean, but they've still got stuff. They've still got stuff going on. I remember talking about this. I'm laughing at this because I don't know if you get out of it, but there was, and I won't use his name because I don't want to bring ill repute to guy, but it was a very famous, he's passed away recently, well, a few years ago, and he was a very famous Buddhist monk. Monk's not quite the word, because he was very high up in the Buddhist community, the Tibetan Buddhist community. He was very high up and well known in the world. And I went and spent a week with him in Italy. My wife and I both spent a week with him, did a Buddhist retreat. And I'm not a Buddhist by the way, I just like to understand different people's philosophies. And we sat there and he taught everybody a dance and he got angry when they weren't doing it right. And I just laughed. I looked at her and said, see, it doesn't matter who you are, still get angry. Because they weren't doing it right. And the truth was, because some people just uncoordinated and they couldn't do it right if they tried. It's just the truth, but he was still getting angry with them. And I looked at that and I said, see, you just don't get away with it, do you? And he's a man who's taken so many people out of life and put them in, transformed them into a different world. But he's still got the human piece. Anyway, so the answer to your question, I don't know. There might have been people that have transformed in this world beyond all the stories. But as soon as you get involved with people again, it's difficult. I think the idea of spending 25 years in a cave, a monk in 25 years meditating in a cave, fantastic, but that's the easy way because there's no people in there. Because you can sit there inside this oneness and be connected to the rocks, the tree, the earth and everything else and fit there. That's easy. As soon as you walk out and run into somebody and they talk to you, that's the problem. So the hard places here in the world has been out in public. It's not sitting in a cave. The cave's the easy one. People think, oh, that'd be so hard. No, that's easy. The non-reaction's being out with people and listening to what they say to you or say to each other and not reacting to that. That's the hard place. So that's where we do it. You might as well get over and done with it, get into it. Get a partner and have a partner triggering all your stories. Just get into it because the more you get rid of them, the freer you become. It's like you just get more and more clarity, more and more clarity. The more you let go, the more you let go, the more you let go. The cleaner it gets. The vision's different, mind's different, experience is different. But I'm not sure if you ever get through them. I don't know. But you might. There must be people on this planet have transformed themselves where they don't have any reaction at all. It's just not me. Yet. Because I've still got plenty of years to go. Ask me in 20 years' time, I'll tell you how close I'm getting. I think. Anyway, great question, but thanks for asking.